It was Joseph Schumpeter who posited that democracy is an indispensable mechanism for selecting leaders through elections to the actual process of choosing rulers, and franchise is a pivotal process in the electoral process. In that same vein, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has emphasized the need for popular participation in the registration of their voters' card for the 2027 general elections. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), saddled with the responsibility to organize, conduct, and supervise elections at all levels in Nigeria, including presidential, gubernatorial, and legislative elections at the federal and state levels, that also have the responsibility to register eligible voters and maintain an accurate voter register, recently announced its plans to commence the continuous voter registration (CVR) from August 18, 2025. The Commission also proposed to include inmates in the forthcoming 2027 general election, emphasizing on inmates' voting rights. This is as the electoral empire has re-echoed the need to seek the intervention of the National Assembly on the matter. When this happens, it will be the first in the history of Nigeria. These singular acts have, however, drawn different opinions from the public.
In Iboze South local government area, what we will do and have begun doing is sensitization. Sensitizing not just the youths of Iboze South about the registration, but also sensitizing the women of Iboze South. Don't forget, some were not around during the last round of registration. They were probably outside the local government, residing somewhere else, so they are now back home. Or conscientize them. Like you rightly said, the youths, constitute the substantial number and majority of the populace. Some of them in the last exercise were not up to age enough so as to participate in exercising their franchise. This time around, they have now grown and they can exercise that right of participation, in voting. So we conscientize them in secondary schools, in churches, in villages, during cultural festivals. These are the sensitizations we have championed, we have brought up, making it for them to know that it is as good as it is religious, that they enroll themselves in that platform where they can choose leaders and leadership of their choice in the next turn of general election in the country.
My name is Ogbo Obina Samson. I'm a youth administrator, and also as well I work with INEC pastor, Onyeka Care Foundation. This, concerning the continuous voters registration, I think it's very, very important, because by law, once a youth is up to age of 18, he or she has the right to vote and be voted for. And the failure to go for the registration will eventually means that youth will be denied of his or her fundamental human rights of voting or voting or to be voted for. So what it means is that every youth that would want to exercise their franchise come 2027 should try as much as he or she could to go for the registration and participate in the voting. Very, very important. Without the registration, there's no way you participate. Because I know some will be clamoring for retention or change of government. But there's no way you can effectively carry out your plan without going for your registration. So it's a clarion call for every youth there. If you know that you are up to the age of 18 years, go and do your registration so that you'll be eligible enough to participate in the forthcoming election. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Abastik, a medical practitioner and Secretary Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria, a developmental analyst. For some of us who have gotten their voters card, I say kudos. It's a civic responsibility. You can't sit on the fence and be shouting. You must actually have your voters card to say this is whom you are going to allow to be elected. The last election we saw a lot of young Nigerians who were shouting a particular candidate on the street, but turned out that they didn't have a voter's card. In the election day, they only walked from afar, to those casting their ballots. Now, INEC has given us the privilege again in the name of continuous voters register. Ideally, that registration should be a continuous process because people turn to 18, every day, every minute, every second. So I think what I would say, those that have not gotten their cards, those that have not gotten the card for the first time, those that have lost their cards, those that actually want to change, those who have just attended 18, our university students, they should avail themselves the opportunity of becoming a full-fledged citizen by having their voters card to enable them perform their civic responsibility.
And they should decentralize the registration process. What I mean by decentralization is try to engage, if it is possible, private sector partnership. Use agencies like MTN, Glo, as a means of hastening this registration. If possible, they should decentralize it even to the local government area, even ward level to be better off, to make it more easier. Instead of clustering to a place for registration, you can go to your various ward and then carry out this registration effectively without any stress.
All eyes are on INEC to unfold its plans to the general public to ensure a free, fair and credible election come 2027. However, this is a clarion call to the good people of Nigeria, a call to rise and choose your leaders, a call to come out in mass to register, get your PVC and vote. It is time to take hold of our country, Nigeria, to be patriotic because Nigeria is ours. Therefore, get your PVC. Nmegide, Faneke TV.